This is Games Year 2, like a journal um, evaluation of Cherkira and the FMP. So we'll go straight into it. This evaluation is roughly at the halfway point, let's say, of their project. So this is just me working out what they have been doing, meeting the criteria, and also to find out how they feel about the project. So Cherkira, who's working with Voldy, can you give me a one sentence breakdown of your game idea?
Basically, it's about a fox, and it's I don't know how to explain it. It's an unfair platformer where the characters basically, what's the word? I'm thinking of one. I can't use that word. The characters basically being punished by the world itself rather than NPCs in the game.
Okay, well put. I played the game a little bit, so yeah, that seems pretty accurate. So it's a 2D platformer, and it's in the genre of being an unfair platform.
Yeah.
So can you describe that a little bit for me? What makes a game unfair as opposed to Mario being the opposite?
So we'll have blocks that will be there, and then you jump on them, and they won't exist, they'll disappear, and then you'll have spikes and stuff that just appear out of nowhere, and then you have to learn and memorize where they are, and then go through the level again once you've died from them.
Okay. So just dying is just not a thing, all right? You're gonna die on a regular basis. Yeah. Okay, good. And so that's what unfair means, that you're not battling NPCs, as you said. What are you battling?
The world against you.
The whole game that you're okay. So you've got to use your memory to remember where all the obstacles are. Is everything out to kill you? Does anything help?
Not everything, but most things, yeah.
Nearly everything kills you. Okay. So okay, and let's go through this. So in terms of research, in terms of the things that you're using to influence your game idea, what sorts of things have you been looking into?
Just for the art of the game, just going on things like Pinterest and stuff, and looking at other 2D games and seeing what they have on there.
Okay.
Or just typing certain things into Google Images, and it brings up a bunch of stuff.
Okay, give me some examples. What sort of things have you found in Pinterest?
Little backgrounds, city backgrounds, and
So realistic city backgrounds?
Yeah, both city, realistic and 2D, just art.
Okay, so concept sort of
pixel art and stuff like that, yeah.
Okay, cool. So lots of low res stuff that you might find in a computer game anyway. Okay. And then obviously the really detailed stuff for influence. Okay, and you've got all these things in your research?
Yeah.
All different things that you've gone to see? Okay, and any games?
If I haven't got it in my research, it's in my journal.
Good.
Anyway.
Very good. And what games influence your unfair game idea?
There's the unfair platformer. That was the original influence, because we found it, and it's probably, I wouldn't say it's the most because we've taken elements of that game and Trap Adventure 2.
Okay.
And Super Meat Boy, just as another little influence.
Okay. And so those are sort of the three most influential game ideas. All right, good. And so they'll influence you in terms of its graphical style and its gameplay?
Yeah, gameplay. Graphical style, I found a background from, I can't remember the name of the game now, Fairwind or something? I don't know, I found it on Google Images when I was looking up at forests, and I really liked it, so I kind of replicated it.
Okay,
and
good.
I wrote about that in my journal.
Okay, that's really nice to do. And so the gameplay, if we go back to gameplay, the details of gameplay, you said that you've used all three games because they're all examples of good
Yeah.
3D platformers. And so when looking at your designing of some of those levels, what game influenced you the most? Did you sort of take parts of the design?
Probably Trap Adventures 2,
Mm-hmm.
because that was more annoying than the Unfair Platformer was, because it was like the Unfair Platformer was quite easy to learn, but then Trap Adventures 2 you'd learn one thing and then find out another thing that you can't do that because something else will happen.
Right, okay. So their gameplay, their game mechanics are actually quite complicated.
Yeah.
And that things will change a little bit. And then, so how did you implement that in your, or give me an example of where you implemented that?
Trying to think, like down on level 2, the underground passageway, there's like spikes and they've got, changed it or not, but they had quite large hitboxes.
Okay.
The spikes themselves. I don't know if we'll change it or not at the moment, but we're keeping it for the moment anyway. And you have to go through those spikes, and then when you get to the end, if you jump over the last set of spikes and land too close, a new set of spikes will come up.
Okay, okay. Alright, that sounds quite cool. Quite evil. And so you've got that same sort of, you've obviously got simpler gameplay before that part.
Yeah.
And then you've got more complex gameplay later
level
on.
1 is more simple than that.
Okay, cool. And you designed parts of that as well?
Yeah.
Good. And level 3, is that something that you're putting together now?
Not yet, but soon.
Okay.
Because we're still figuring out if we can do a snow world or not, and like what we would do otherwise instead of that if we wanted to.
Okay, cool. All right. And what sorts of problems are posed in the snow world?
Just like we don't know if we can make the character slide across the ice on the floor in certain places or throughout the whole thing. Like if like we don't know if we can code it that way.
Okay. All right. And that's an important feature that you want to include.
Yeah.
That's a really important game mechanic. If you can't include that as a game mechanic, then how would you solve that technical problem? Because at the moment, this is quite a theoretical thing that you're sort of proposing to do. But if you can't solve that practical problem, would it mean that you scrap the level, or would you just leave that bit out and make it graphically?
We're still thinking about it, but maybe like have the same level design sort of, but just maybe change a few things and then make a whole different level graphically completely.
Okay. All right. In terms of time, that probably presents its own problems as well, doesn't it? If you're gonna design design anything about it, the graphics, the look of everything that you're gonna jump on, different types of spikes. That's probably the easiest part. Okay, cool. And so, if I'm looking at you, so you are definitely analysing and evaluating what you're doing as you're going along. I think the nature of the game that you're doing does require that, innit? Just to make the gameplay
Definitely.
more and more evil.
Even like with just making people play test our game that haven't played it before, because then it like shows us like the spikes might have too big a hitboxes, but it might be a good thing because it might be annoying for people.
Yes, yeah.
So we're still thinking about stuff like that.
So you can learn a lot from anyone playing the game.
Yeah.
And seeing how they deal with the first 30 seconds or the next minute.
Yeah.
How easy it is to get to the first deadline. Yeah. Dopamine's an important drug, isn't it, when you're talking about games? Yeah. Cool. All right, so we were in the region of talking about some practical and theoretical problems and technical problems. So in terms of putting assets into Unity, you did this before during last year. You done that last year.
We done
You did a car game or something like that.
Yeah.
So you're already familiar with how to get assets into the game engine and animate. Have you done any animation?
Not yet, but I'm planning to.
Okay, cool. But everything that you provided so far are still graphical assets.
Yeah.
Okay. And are your backgrounds made out of one piece of graphic, or have you put them together?
No, like for our second level, I'm gonna have, or like even for our first level, but just as example, for our second level, we had like a just like a sky background with like the sun on it, or moon or whatever it would be.
Cool.
And then I put stars on that as well, and then I've got clouds on another level, and then I was gonna have 4 layers of like city buildings, but then I just changed it down to 3 because it's gonna be too much.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
And
Was it too cluttered, or was it too much for the game engine?
I think too much for a game engine, because it's already got 5 layers then. But then, and then we're gonna parallax it so it'll like move different speeds and stuff.
Okay.
Pretty.
That sounds good. And you said that you've got no GUI.
Yeah, we do. It's just the main menus and like just a start and finish page, and that's it.
Okay. Designed by you?
It was collaborative. Voldy put it together, and I was just like, oh, maybe we should have like this title instead because you can't see it properly.
Okay. So he threw together the basics, but
Yeah.
I guess between the two of you, you're always going to be tag teaming on what looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then in that way, you're going to be probably the games tester.
Yeah.
And then for the graphical assets, he'll be the tester.
Yeah.
And for the level design, he'll be the tester as well. Cool. Okay, so do you take part in any of the code design?
Briefly in parts.
Okay.
Like if it's I'm having a problem, I can sometimes say, like, why don't you do this? Because I don't know code, but I know some code, like really basic code. So sometimes I can help him, sometimes I can't.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess and that's probably where a lot of people's strengths are. That you're just a second mind involved in the process.
Yeah.
So you could probably give ideas like pseudocodes, they call it, where you kind of give the sort of logic in normal English of what to do else than what he's probably stuck in the middle of. And sounds good. Okay, so
especially when he gets like not grammar, what's it? Punctuation.
Oh, the syntax errors.
Syntax. He gets syntax wrong sometimes, and I'm like, no, you missed that, and he's like, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, very common in coding. Yeah. Very common. So that means you're taking part in all the aspects of the game design, the design, creating assets, the level design, the GUI, the coding, and I can't think of what else it could be. But that's good that you're all mixed in all of it. So in terms of planning, organising, and producing your product within the agreed time, what sorts of things have you put in place?
Like, we've been doing team meetings like roughly every week or so, and then we've put down schedules as well for every week. Like, we separated them into weeks, and we're just doing it kind of a weekly thing.
Good.
We had a main schedule that we made with our what was that, project proposal, but we're kind of going by that and what we've done by a weekly basis, so we might be like, oh, we've already done that, so let's just move on to the next thing.
Okay.
And then just do it as we go, because it just works better.
Sounds good. So in terms of your schedule, that has everything you need, basically. Your asset list, you're working your way through, and you've probably devised another asset list, or you've gone beyond the asset list and sort of timetabled things to do with your schedule.
Yeah, our asset list is just I feel we still have to put it together really, because we've got different parts of it everywhere. I think level 1 is on a piece of paper somewhere, and level 2 he wrote down on Discord. So it's kind of everywhere.
And then you've
at the
been
moment.
amending it as it goes along and
Yeah.
developing as you go along. Cool. And with and then level 3 still plays a feature in that possibly. And where we have Discord, actually, what you just mentioned. So lots of your conversation and transferring assets between each other is done through this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you use anything else to communicate with? Don't need WhatsApp, do you? You don't need email.
We do WhatsApp sometimes, but like all the game related stuff is just on Discord.
It's on Discord.
We've made a channel for it.
Cool. You've made your own channel for this.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Who started that, by the way? Alright, it was you.
No, I
Just
think
being
it was
modest.
me. I think it was me.
I knew he's going to be
Overall,
modest.
I did put the icon picture on, so it was probably me.
Okay. That sounds good.
And I also created the name that's on our website.
Alright, cool. Okay.
It was just a 5-minute thing.
Sounds good.
I did that. And I made the websites.
Cool. What about the story behind the game? Because I remember there was a big discussion a while ago.
Yeah.
And
we kind of just threw ideas at each other, I think, and we just made it. I don't...
Oh, sounds good, because
Yeah,
you've got that duckling sort of story in it.
Yeah, I think he came up with putting it with that, and I was like, oh, we could have siblings in this at first, and he was like, oh, like ugly duckling. I was like, yeah, kind of.
Cool, because your dogs are going to be part of it. Don't know why you threw that idea away, That's a good idea. Anyway, so you're demonstrating your exploration, adaptation and application of practical methods. So you've already talked to me about the level designs that you're doing by using Matt. In Matt's lesson last week, you did some stuff there as well. So you've play tested for a bit.
Oh yeah, he did, and
Tell me about that. Tell me what happened.
Got very frustrated over it.
Who did? Matt did?
Yeah, okay. And he had to take a break.
Okay.
So I guess that's a good thing.
Yes.
But when it was mainly when Lish was playing it, I don't think we didn't really in the first level. We didn't show off to the player, like, if you hold the jump button for long enough, the character will jump higher than if you just tap it. So we need to find out. We were planning on changing that anyway, but we need to figure out a way how to do that better.
Okay. And so that was Lish that highlighted that point for you, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. And what other things have you sort of adapted based on what people have said? Or in fact, have you seen any other games? You went EGX? Did you see anything that you liked that influenced?
I did. I don't know what game it was, but they had like in the background of the game they had like little leaves and stuff floating about, and I really liked that. I don't know if it's gonna be a thing in our game yet, but Voldy's doing particle effects through Unity. I guess I might be on level 3 as well.
Yeah. Alright, cool, with snowflakes and stuff, yeah. Sounds good. So you're also maintaining your journal.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at you maintaining it in an evaluative and reflective records. Are you using you are using your evaluative and reflective records and skills to make decisions based on your thing, based on what Lish's experience within a game, but also Matt as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I can bring in this part here for 7.2, we talk about a specified audience. Lish wouldn't be part of the specified audience, but Matt might be. and other people who you've tested the game on? And if they've given any feedback? I imagine there's a few people.
There is a few people. I don't know about feedback as such, but like Matt was saying, it looks like level 1 looks very similar to what like I based it off of, and I was like, yeah, I was just trying to learn like how to use the software I was using in that, and like what we can do with like parallaxing it and stuff. But like all the other levels, I'm gonna do completely just myself and that.
Cool. Okay.
But then yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So you are, although you're not getting written feedback, you're getting lots of verbal feedback for these things. And then so if you telegraph it as something that you've chosen to, that you just choose to write about it and then give a conclusion or what your response was, then you'll hit that criteria. All right. But 6.2 is directly what we're talking about. For 7.2, I'll probably recommend you can put videos on YouTube, private videos, and then send them to certain people. And then that way you can invite people using SurveyMonkey to certain places, or you can even make an executable of your video of your game to trusted people. See what they say, see what they think, and then give replies. And that's over the digital airways. People in the room, got a whole room of people that might be part of the demographic. I'm not sure if you can find a demographic of people who love like evil games that try and kill you, but you can definitely find people who love platformers and adventure type games and those sorts of things. So that would be good for that one. Just to round off then, 7.1. So you're going to design sort of a layout, as I've spoken about a couple of times before, of if your game is playing on the screen, then you're going to sort of arrange some artwork around that as well to promote yourself, the game, and also the two of you have worked on it. So you might be a background and also sort of a name plaque sort of thing. So you might go through some design. So you might need a little bit, because it says explore strategies. So I guess it's worth you looking at what they do at E3 or EGX and take screenshots of all sorts of things and then compare what you can do, what you're capable of doing, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we were planning to do something like photographs to just have like business cards and that around, and like a name plaque and posters around the computer. So yeah.
Good. Okay, thank you.